Although presidents are supposed to be public servants, most of them make immense amounts of money while they're in office. From speaking engagements to lucrative book deals, politicians can make millions of dollars a year. Today, we're looking at the highest paid presidents in the world. Justin Trudeau has served as the Prime Minister of Canada since 2015. He earns well above the average Canadian salary with an annual income of $267,041. Compare this with the nominal GDP per capita in Canada, which is only $49,222. Trudeau has a relatively high approval rating among Canadians and is behind policies like legalizing recreational marijuana and a federal carbon tax. Before working in politics, Trudeau acted in a Canadian miniseries called The Great War. He served as an advocate for public avalanche warning systems after tragically losing his brother in a skiing accident. His estimated net worth is $10 million. Much of this is inherited wealth from his father, who also served as Canadian Prime Minister, and his grandfather, who turned wise investments in real estate and gas stations into significant ownership stakes in everything from amusement parks to the Montreal Royals baseball team. The average South African makes only $5,236 a year. Compare that to the impressive presidential salary of Cyril Ramaphosa, who nets $273,470 a year. After taking control of the country in 2018, Ramaphosa pledged to clean up corruption and removed many figures left over from the presidential cabinet of his predecessor, Jacob Zuma. Zuma is currently under investigation for corruption. The micronation of Luxembourg has the highest income on Earth. The nominal GDP per capita is a whopping $113,000. So it comes as no surprise that Luxembourg's Prime Minister is one of the highest paid executives in the world. Xavier Bettel has held the position since 2013 and makes an annual salary of $278,035. Bettel became the first openly gay Prime Minister to win a second term in 2018, and he's widely popular in the nation-state. His estimated net worth is $1 million, and he worked as a talk show host for several years before running for political office. During his tenure, Bettel has continued a reign of prosperity for the tiny country of 630,000 citizens. Luxembourg exports many industrial goods and serves as a banking hub for the world's rich and famous. At only 35 years old, Sebastian Kurz is one of the youngest heads of state on the planet. He is also one of the best compensated with an annual salary of $328,584. Kurz first held an elected position in Austria when he was only 31 years old. He has been the chairman of the centre-right Austrian People's Party since 2017. Before entering politics, Kurz served in the Austrian military and studied law. The career politician has done very little outside of government, and his net worth is estimated at around $1 million. Some of his most popular policies include a family tax credit, which saves families as much as €1,500 per child. He also drafted changes that included basic income and unemployment insurance for Austrian citizens. Although Mauritania is not often in the news, it serves as a critical point between China, the Middle East, and Africa. China is leveraging Mauritania to realize its ambitious Belt and Road initiative across the region. Although the GDP per capita in Mauritania is only $1,400, one of the lowest in the world, President Mohamed Ould Abdel Aziz earns an annual income of $330,000. Most people believe Aziz earns much more every year due to illegal bribes and kickbacks from big business. In March 2021, Aziz was found guilty of corruption and convicted along with one of his son-in-laws. As part of the investigation, authorities seized $96 million worth of assets, including $67 million that allegedly belonged to Aziz. The 65-year-old president seized power in a military coup in 2008. The former general has ruled with an iron grip and, despite being shot by an assassin in 2012, is unlikely to step down anytime soon. Jacinda Ardern has served as New Zealand's Prime Minister and leader of the Labour Party since 2017. This massively popular executive makes $339,862 a year for her position. Ardern led the Labour Party to a historic victory in the 2020 general election, gaining an outright majority of 65 seats in Parliament, the first time this has happened since the introduction of proportional representation in 1996. The international community applauded Ardern for her handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the Prime Minister has many fans at home and abroad. Although her days as the head of the German parliament are numbered, Angela Merkel has served as the Chancellor of Germany since 2005. She was the first female Chancellor, and until recently, her Christian Democratic Party was seemingly unstoppable. Merkel earns a comfortable income of $369,727 every year, but she is notoriously down-to-earth. The Chancellor has been photographed doing her own grocery shopping in Berlin. Merkel has worked as a scientist before she moved into politics, and she holds an advanced degree in physics. In 2018, after 13 years in power, Merkel announced that she would not run for re-election in 2021. After stepping down, her political party suffered the worst results in decades. With an annual salary of $378,415, Australia's Prime Minister is one of the best compensated on earth. Scott Morrison has been in office since 2018 and aligns with the centre-right Liberal Party. Before working in politics, this Conservative Prime Minister worked for the Australian Tourism Task Force, where he tried to increase tourism revenue in his home country. After a short stint doing publicity for New Zealand, Morrison moved back to Australia and began his political career. Estimates of his net worth range from $100,000 to $1 million. When George Washington first took office, he made $25,000. When adjusted for inflation, this is equivalent to $729,429. Fast forward 2 centuries, and the US presidential salary is now set at $400,000. Every president since George W. Bush has earned $400,000 a year, including the current American president, Joe Biden. Since 2001, all American presidents also get a budget of $50,000 for expenses, $100,000 for a non-taxable travel account, and $19,000 for entertainment. After leaving office, most US presidents managed to ink lucrative book deals and speaking engagements. For instance, George W. Bush has a net worth of $40 million. Barack Obama is worth $70 million, Donald Trump is worth $2.4 billion, and Biden is worth $8 million. Switzerland is renowned for having an extremely high quality of life. The high-income country boasts a GDP per capita of $86,673, second only to Luxembourg. So it makes sense that Switzerland's president, Guy Parmelin, is the third highest paid head of state on earth. He earns almost $500,000 every year with an annual salary of $482,958. He currently leads the centre-right Swiss People's Party and has been in power since January 1, 2021. In June 2021, Parmelin made headlines for hosting Russian President Vladimir Putin and American President Joe Biden for the 2021 Russia-United States Summit at Villa-Lagrange in Geneva. Carrie Lam is the controversial chief executive of Hong Kong. After assuming office in 2017, she became the face of draconian restrictions and human rights violations passed down from mainland China. But regardless of her politics, Lam is extremely well compensated, with an annual salary of $568,400. Hong Kong recently raised the salaries of all heads of governments by 12.4% based on the cumulative change in the Consumer Price Index, an economic indicator that measures inflation. Lam is essentially a career politician who worked as a civil servant for many years, ultimately graduating from Cambridge with a degree in development studies. She met her spouse Lam Tzu Po while studying at Cambridge. Lee Hsien Loong has served as the Prime Minister of Singapore since 2004. Singapore is considered a high-income country with a nominal GDP per capita of $64,103. However, Loong makes many times more than the average citizen, with a whopping annual salary of $1.61 million. Loong is behind popular policies like the 5-day workweek and extended maternity leave. Although Loong's compensation is sky-high, Singapore actually rates extremely low for corruption. According to the Transparency International's Corruption Perceptions Index, which tracks nations' corruption trends, Singapore is potentially the least corrupt nation in the world. Of course, there are many other presidents who would rank higher if the list included bribes and unreported income. But in terms of official salary, Lee Hsien Loong is by far the highest paid president in the world.